name is Palmer Smith, and I love my Nintendo Switch. Living in my home that I like to call my Nintendo Land. Even though that the Wii U fell, Palmer Smith is back again. Gotta go ahead and pre-order that Nintendo Switch.
Going to just crash the industry. That's the point of this video, and I want to explain this point of view, but I also want people to disagree with me, to give me feedback, to tell me.
Well, that's exactly what you're going to get with this video, and I find it so funny that the same dudes talk about how gaming is expensive. You know, ain't you the same dude that said we support our publishers and developers, and now you're going as far back to say that we don't want to support them, gaming is getting too expensive, it's going to lead to $100. You was doing that same exact thing on PlayStation. Didn't you pre-order Indiana Jones and Forza Horizon on your PS5? Both of those versions to play them 4 days early is, guess what, guys? $100. So what do you people really complain about?
How I'm wrong, because I don't feel like I am. But
you most definitely
on
are.
the internet, you accidentally get stuck in echo chambers. There's algorithms, there's feedback loops, there's the price point. $80 is going to cause a complete collapse of the industry.
No, because Nintendo's not expecting everybody else to do it. That's for the third-party publishers, for them to decide if they feel like they can get $80 to $100 off their game. GTA probably can sell at $200 for all we know, because that's a game that people are looking forward to playing. Just like with 2K, with these Ultimate Editions that are upwards to like, what, $150 to $200, you don't see their audience complaining about buying it because they get 200,000 extra VC for their My Player character. It just goes to show you that, yes, we might have less games now, but that's for the publishers or developers to put the games at the right price that people more likely want to buy them. It is what it is. Nintendo's going to get away with it because they have this whole nostalgia factor, and you guys always justify as to why their game should be that costly. But to most average consumers, they're not going to see that appeal for the average game that comes out.
More studio closures, more complete flops, and more people maybe even walking away from the hobby, or maybe just getting into piracy and only playing everything bootleg. But let me talk about this and kind of explain where I'm coming from, because I am the kind of person where I grew up in the 90s. I grew up playing everything I possibly could, from 8-bit, 16-bit, first.
And you should know that gaming was even expensive back then. I remember, like, what was it? Killer Instinct 2 Gold for the N64 was like $80. Neo Geo 3DO. I mean, that was like, what, $700 to $800 for that console? I mean, what do you mean? Oh, yeah, I was from the 90s, you know? Like, he acted as if the 90s wasn't so expensive. Sega CD, Sega 32X attachments. What are you talking about? Super Nintendo FX chip games that cost upwards to, what, $100? Like, bro, what are you doing, bruh?
Seeing the earliest cutscenes and first RPGs ever. And as fun as that was, I'm starting to feel like we've sort of lost something. This perpetual push for the most insane graphics and highest price tags.
Well, that's not what Nintendo's really pushing with a lot of their games. At the end of the day, they still have an emphasis on fun and just pushing it with better frame rates and resolutions. I mean, like I said, I think this was bound to happen. I am also predicting that the next generation of consoles will be $1,000, even though people want to argue that point. I mean, I just think this is going to make gaming far more expensive than it ever has been. You know what I mean? I think we're going back to those days. And I think it has more to do with the fact that you guys don't buy the games that these companies want you to pick up. See, when Nintendo, 80, 90, whatever, how much they decide to put their games at, they're going to buy them. The same dudes that pick up Pokemon for both, what, like, was it Z and A? That's over $100. And they spend that probably on two games that are essentially identically the same, besides one main legendary Pokemon on the front cover. That's what Nintendo gamers have already been doing. They've been doing that for how long? Since the Game Boy? And you think they're going to have a problem with picking up $80 games? I don't think so.
Possible, but let me explain what the hell I'm.
They might not pick your games up for $60 to $70. They barely want to pick up your games now. I mean, just look at Concord as an example. That game was $40 and nobody still cared to want to buy that garbage.
Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you system to turtle, you pay pigs. And be glad we don't charge you $100 for Pokemon. Actually, maybe we will. You'll pay it.
They kind of already have, though, so I don't know what Angry Joe is saying. If you buy Scarlet and Violet, you essentially, and they're both $60 each, right? You technically speaking, you paid $100 for the same game. So it's not like Nintendo hasn't already done this to you fools, bro. So for you guys to complain about this just goes to show you how out of touch you guys really are with the gaming industry.
Anyway, by the way, Doug Bowser was vice president for EA, so there's tracks. So yeah, they did announce that you have to pay for the system tutorial. It's $10 to get the tutorial for freaking Nintendo Switch 2. But I feel like the reason this is being met with so anger, why is it that $80 feels so much bigger than $70? Why does it?
I don't know, because 80 is bigger than 70. It's like 7 and 8, 9, right, bro? What? Of course, it's a higher. Like, hold on, what? Like, why would you even have to explain something so simple?
But
I forgot, because 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay.
Like, the reason this is being met with so anger, why is it that $80 feels so much bigger than $70?
I mean, bro, because it's more money. Yo, this dude is stupid. Did he just say, why does $80 feel much bigger? Much bigger than $70? I don't know. It's pretty freaking obvious. Bro, yo, I would never want this dude to manage my money. Hold up. Let me hear that again.
Shoot. But
what?
I feel like the reason this is being met with so anger, why is it that $80 feels so much bigger than $70?
Yo, I don't know, man. I'm really confused, man. I learned in school that 7, 8, 9, right? Like, yo, what kind of mathematics is this, bro? Are you serious? Like, I can't believe he would even say something this stupid.
Why does it feel so much bigger than $60?
Because it's more money. It's pretty obvious. Matter of fact, I got a better example. We'll use you for example, like the PS5 Pro. I don't understand how $800 on the Pro is more expensive, feels more expensive than the $500 Series X. I know, guys. I can't tell. I really don't know why the PS5 Pro that's priced at $800 with a disk drive, right? And how that is so much more expensive than the Series S at $299. I'm so confused. I don't know why that is the case. Bruh. Yo, if this was Atari Jaguar, they'd be sitting there telling you to do the math, brother.
I feel like we're crossing this threshold where
it's
not just that people are more broke. Or
we need to start crossing some brain cells.
I mean, I think it's that right now, even in America, with
here
tax,
we go. Y'all are mad because this is the first time y'all got to pay Canadian prices for games. How do you think them Canadians feel, bruh? Out here enjoying their little, with Canada Dry while also eating their Canadian bacon. And you out here got a problem with paying Canadian prices for video games. You should be more concerned about those damn scalpers.
Almost $100 for the base version of games that a lot of times have microtransactions.
I own these games, man. I bought these on my Switch. I own these games. Digital.
Or season passes or all sorts of extra DLC.
I own them.
If you're trying to get the complete experience of something now, it's going to cost you over $100. But what I've kind of been reflecting on is that gaming used to have entry points, low entry points. And
that's funny because the Series S gave you that exact reason, and yet you was bashing them, talking about how Game Pass Ultimate is not good for the consumers, or should I say, not good for the gaming industry. Now all of a sudden you're essentially saying that Game Pass Ultimate is a good thing for gaming.
That back in the day,
here we go.
If you weren't playing the latest and greatest, the most cutting edge cool thing, if you purposely bought last gen or something, there were cheaper options to get into video games.
Yeah, and it's called the Switch One or the Switch Lite. You don't like it? Well, go buy that. Or like I said, go play that. You broke it.
Do you know why I'm called the Dreamcast guy? This is my real life nickname because back in the day, being extremely broke, I got the Dreamcast after it failed. The games used to be $3 for $5. They were in discount bins like crazy. So because I was.
I thought you said your friend gave it to you. Remember, didn't he say that, bro? Your story never adds up, bro. He always got a new story about the Dreamcast. Weren't you like homeless or something, and your friend gave you a bag of Dreamcast games that you traded him for a Game Boy Advance? Like, I swear, that's what I remember hearing. Now all of a sudden, he talking about how he picked them up in discount bins.
Freaking poor. I couldn't afford a PlayStation 2 or an Xbox or anything like that. I just would literally dig through discount bins, and I found some incredible RPGs.
And guess what? Most of those discount bins, those companies weren't giving your money. You just proved every reason as to why they're pushing for this. Because you think by buying games from the discount bin that Nintendo, Sony, or whoever you're buying these games from, do you honestly think they're getting your money? They're not. That completely goes against your point of, oh, we support the developers. How you support the developers picking up their games in a discount bin?
It's grandiose.
And then you guys have a problem with piracy. Like, I mean, come on, man. It's the hypocrisy.
I mean, I had so many games that not only blew my mind, but shaped the way I saw gaming. And yeah, the other kids weren't playing it. Yeah, the other kids probably saw it as these on a $60 game. That dropped the price pretty dang significantly. Getting it for so much cheaper actually mattered. It incentivized $90 or $100. I love Final Fantasy, but I'm not going to pay $90 for one of those games. I mean, to me, that just seems...
I mean, technically, you kind of did, though. Y'all like, what? What do you mean, GameStop? If you bought Final Fantasy X and you bought Final Fantasy X-2, you technically spent actually about $100. Technically speaking. So this is not the first time these companies have done this, man. Now, mind you, I would say that they both kind of stand on their own merits. So I'm not going to go that far, but I'm saying you had Ocarina of Time and you had Majora's Mask. That clock system that they have in Majora's Mask was actually supposed to be an Ocarina of Time. They just didn't have enough time to actually implement it in that game, which they also, that's why if you notice, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask has very similar assets. So technically speaking, it is kind of an asset flip. It's just a really good one.
Ridiculously, exorbitantly expensive.
Oh.
I have seen more and more and more people.
A PlayStation fanboy that picked up a Pro for $800 telling you guys how expensive gaming has gotten.
My comment section straight up saying, I grew up playing video games, I grew up loving video games, but I think I'm priced out. I just can't afford to keep up. Systems.
Well, because the concept of buying games hasn't really been there. You know, and I hate to say it, bro. Most people back then was getting their games from Blockbuster. That's what it was. Y'all know, renting games, even GameFly. I mean, a lot of people don't see the concept of having to buy software for their consoles.
So expensive.
That's why free-to-plays are so popular.
The PS5 Pro being $700. Obviously, that's optional, but even a PlayStation 5. A PlayStation 5 being $550 in a lot of regions now if you want a disc drive on it.
I mean, that's actually not bad. That's actually pretty good.
Let's face it, the Nintendo Switch, we don't know the price of the Switch to after tariffs, but it's probably going to be about $600.
Yeah, but it's not portable, though. So, I mean, that kind of beats your argument.
I've seen a lot of people saying, I just have to emulate. I have to pirate. I have to bootleg games. I simply cannot afford to buy these games unless they're on deep, deep, deep discount.
And that ain't happening.
There's a thing that some people are kind of mad about. It's kind of a controversial thing. Flashcards. This is like a little microchip. It lets you play every single, microchip. It lets you play every single Game Boy Advance game in the entire world.
Hold on, what? Hold on, you said what? Hold on. You should support that company.
Pokemon has
it is Hobby Switch.
Games, you can put stuff that wasn't released.
That's not doing buy those games.
This
buy them.
Raw Game Boy that I had made. I love this thing a lot.
Don't do that.
Hypothetically, get trapped on a desert.
You support Nintendo, goddammit.
And with a
you don't do this to them.
Protein powder. And just
they want off of their intellectual property.
And I almost think about the fact that as the
tag
is being introduced,
how dare you do this?
Kind of consider that. I review video games.
You still
keep trying the latest and greatest stuff.
I can't believe this man's still in Nintendo games, man. Why? What did Nintendo do to you, man? Why?
Too far. Of all the games to even attempt this with, I think it's really signifying the fact that prices are going to keep going up.
Yeah, if you keep stealing. I'm tired of this, man. Y'all always stealing video games. You ain't no better than them people on PC. This is Harvey Smith. For what you have done, I'm going to have to buy 4 more Nintendo Switch 2s to compensate for the terrible actions that you have done. You have created blasphemy in this community. You gave Sony $800 of your own money. And you out here playing Pokemon on a bomb call on your Game Boy Advance. I'm tired of this crap, man. I'm tired of it.